Okay, we are doing some frame drawing on the Trojan model, and basically we're just cleaning up some details on frame number 6, bringing some reference lines over. Alright, bring that over there. Alright, gonna finish this off like that. Now, there we go. And there. Let's see here. We're gonna offset the lower parts of the frame, make it a little bit easier. Okay, didn't mean to do that. There we go. We're gonna offset to 24 inches. So let's extend there, extend here, and what we're doing is we're just gonna chop off the upper part of this because we don't need it. See, we have the bulwark stanchion. This is going to be going above deck, and then the rest of the frame, that's going to be what you really don't see, and that's okay. Clean up a few details here, the Kelson notch, and chop that off. We don't need that. Okay. Now, what we have so far is the full face of the frame there, and then here, that's the forward face, but we need another layer in here, and I forgot to do something, so that's okay. We're going to do it right now. Clean up a little detail here so I can get all my reference marks, and that should be good there. Alright, so we're going to start from the bearding line. This is where the bottom of the frame touches the keel, and we're going to bring this mark over. This is going to be building that middle line, and you can see here's for the first buttock line. Mark that off there. And the second buttock line, corresponding intersection there. And then we have the third buttock line. That's right there. So, now, let's see, we need the deck at side. We'll just run it there, and then this is the shear line up here. Now we've got the heights of all of these marks. Now we need to connect the, for instance, deck line at the side on that middle line with the width, and we're going to do it like this. Just going to break these off. I'm just creating an intersection point. Don't want to have too much of it there. So now we can get rid of all of these excess lines. That is the width and height of the middle of this frame, the deck line at the side. And we're going to do the same thing with the shear line. Start right there with the half breadth shear, cross it over there. So long as these lines are crossing, I have an intersection point. Do it like that, just to be neat. And get rid of all these lines. Now I have the height and breadth of the middle line of the frame at the shear line that's right up there along the railing. Now I need the rest of the half breadth water lines. Bring these up. That's water line 1. cross it over with waterline 1 there. And then waterline 2. And so forth. Bring it right there. Waterline 3. And waterline 3. There's 7 of them, so we're getting there. Waterline 4. Like this. Okay. Waterline 5. Sounds kind of monotonous, but it's really not. It's actually exciting to see these reference marks line up so nicely. Right there. Okay. And know that we're going to get a nice smooth curve out of this that will represent the shape of the middle line or the joint line of the frame. Now, put the spline on, draw a curved line. We're going to click at each intersection like this. There we go. Right there, there, there. There's the 7th water line. The next is that deck line at side, and then the shear line. Okay, and we can get rid of all the reference lines here. We don't need those. Sometimes this is referred to as calculating the ups and the outs. There we go. Now, let's go ahead and save this. Just like this. And now you can see that we have the after face, the middle of the frame, and the forward face. Those shapes are all plotted out from the keel all the way up to the rail or the shear line. Alright, now we're going to further develop frame 6. One thing we need to do is to make sure that we've got that middle line transferred over from the outside of the frame, where it is, right here, over to the inside of the frame. So in order to do that, we're going to offset. We're going to do 2 different offsets. It sounds a little complicated, but it's really not. Now we need some measurements. So we're going to start over here. Alright, we need 8 inches at the deck. That'll serve there. And then up here at the shear line, we need 7 inches. This is just to make sure that everything is even with the lines. There's even widths from inside to out where I've already drawn things. Now we're going to trace a line here, and this is basically just to help me make sure. Right there's the deck line on the inside of the frame. Here's the shear line on the inside of the frame. There we go. And okay, we can get rid of that now. And we're going to, let's just do this. Yeah, right over there. Alright, just trim these off just a little bit here. Alright, there we go. Now what we've done here is we've transferred the middle line of the frame from the outside to the inside of the bulwark stanchion. That's this thing sticking up here by itself. Now we need to do the same thing with the lower part of the frame. It's actually going to be easier because we're just going to offset it 24 inches just like we did before. I'm going to pull this over here. There we go. And then this upper part we don't need. It's just the lower part. So now we have a completed, basically one side of the frame complete. Well, almost. But you can see the fully developed 3-dimensional bulwark stanchion and the rest of the frame. This will ensure that when I build the pieces of the frame, or when I make them and I fit them all together, that they all have the proper shape inside out. Now, this is one of the things that I like to do. Let's mirror, because all we have right now is one side of the frame. We need both of them. This is a full frame. It's got a full floor timber going across, and what we're going to do magically, just like this, boom, we've got the full frame. Now, for what we're going to do next, we're going to get rid of that grid because we don't need it. We're going to get rid of the grid. Now we want to make sure, all right, you see there, this is basically the upper edge of the notch where the frame fits over the keel. And we're just going to, here we go, draw that line in, get rid of that. Okay, we need to trim this off. That's not a problem. Okay, so this area right here, this is where the frame notches over the keel. Now this notch up here is for the bottom of the kelson, sort of the inside keel. We want to make sure that this line is at the proper depth. It is not. No problem. We can correct that. I'm going to extend the center line up here. Going to need that later on. The center line will make sure that the frame is directly on the center. And yeah, there we go. I'm going to clean up some reference marks that we don't need. I could have done this before I mirrored all of this over to the other side, but oh well, we can do it now. Not a problem. Just going to get rid of that. Yeah, like that. Get rid of that. Alright, now we're going to save it. So this frame 6, this is what it looks like when it's sitting up on the keel from a side view. And now we have a completed shape, and the next thing will be to create all of the templates for all the pieces of that particular frame.